People of YouTube, it's your boy Chucky Mike back with another reaction video today. And I had one that really hit my spirit. So this is my TikTok. If y'all want to follow me on TikTok, I pretty much do similar stuff to this, except I just be lazy. I don't be one that be doing it. It's a lot easier to edit stuff on a computer. That's actually why I started the YouTube, is finding it so much easier to edit stuff. But actually, I want to talk about this particular video right here, where the lady talks about being in the military. Now I'm a 8-year military veteran myself. I did 2 active duty and 6 in the reserve, so I think I can intelligently speak on this concept. So let's get into it.
I did 6 years in the military in the Army, and here are my tips on why you should not join. Disclaimer: if you are about to join and you already got your mind made up, just scroll on past. This is to spread awareness, put exposure out there, and to save my kind from going into a white man's army. Number 1, they're racist. Number 2, you will never get your full amount of pay. So the amount of pay that they tell you they're going to pay you, you'll never see it.
Okay, so right off the jump, I mean, racism, you just can't avoid that anywhere. This is America. So I can't accurately say that everybody at the top is a racist, because you just don't know that. Could there be signs? Could you argue that? Maybe. That's debatable. The pay thing is kind of crazy. I have never heard that one. I don't, like I said, I don't know. See, I haven't gotten far enough in the video, but she doesn't specify whether she was in a reserve, whether she was active duty. I don't know. But the pay thing, I've never heard that one. Like I said, I was in the Air Force, so maybe the operations behind the scenes is different, but the pay, they don't pay you what they say. That's incredibly. I would have to look further into that, because I've never heard that one before.
Number 3, when it's time to get out and get your benefits, they're going to give you a hassle and bully you, harass you, and take all year long.
That is a fact. Now that across all branches is true. They take you to, in order to get the benefits, as far as the disability, you have to jump through many hoops. There's actually whole other websites that teach people how to do this, how to get specifically through certain hoops. That is true. That is 100% true. I cannot argue with that. I haven't even gotten benefits because I didn't. Now, granted, I didn't really get injured per se, but I figured you could get something, and it's incredibly difficult. So yeah, nah. I get that part of it.
Next tip: they don't like black people, so go in there and be prepared to be at the bottom of the swivel. You're going to be dealing with people who are used to the old way of living. Those people think they're still in 1930.
That's debatable. That might be for personal experience. I didn't experience that they didn't like black people. Matter of fact, I had black superiors in mine. In a lot of my time, I had some black superiors. So I didn't feel what she's talking about. So I can't relate to that now.
Next tip is the food. They poison you through the food. They also put stuff in the food to throw off your body. Also, they give you so many shots, you'll never fully know what's inside of your body, and they require you to get every shot that the government comes out with.
Yeah, they do that. The shots. As far as food, I mean, y'all eat fucking McDonald's every day. So what we talking about? That's no different. And then I also have heard there's a big difference between the food that they feed people in the army versus what they feed people in the Air Force. Like always, the Army people and the Marines people always complain when they would come onto an Air Force base, is that our food was so much better. So that could be just the Army talking. They say, I don't know anything about the Army. I was all Air Force. So
They take people right out the hood, so most of the people that's in the military have anger issues, mommy and daddy issues. No one who had a good life, that was wealthy, that grew up sane and stable with both parents in a healthy home, is in the military.
I would say that's probably a generalization. That's the people you hung out with, because I know in my basic training, I had a bunch of people from all over the different walks of life. Matter of fact, in the Air Force, most of my counterparts in basic training were white, and none of them were from the hood. Actually, a lot of them were from country neighborhoods where I had 3 people in my flight in basic training that had never even seen a black person in real life, because they lived in some fucking country in the middle of nowhere, right? And anybody other than that was just normal everyday folks. So I don't, that part, that must be once again some Army and Marine stuff, because I hate to say it, but the barrier to entry in the Army and the Marines is a lot lower than it is in the Air Force. You have to have a somewhat higher test scores, higher ASVAB scores, to get in there. So I'm not saying that people from the hood is stupid or anything. I'm just saying that in order the barrier to entry might be lower. Like I know in the Air Force you can't have tattoos, you can't have piercings, you have to have like no criminal history, you have to have a clean driving history. So two different things, you know what I'm saying? Two different things. So that's I think she's experiencing some of that low barrier to entry is what she's talking about that the Air Force didn't have. So I didn't experience what she's talking about.
Nobody. Next is they're full of drunks because you're not supposed to do drugs, even though the higher ups be doing coke.
That's a
so
fact.
They'll kick you out if you do weed, but the higher ups and the white people be doing coke and getting away with it.
That's a fact.
When it comes down to medication, so I had started going to behavioral health. I wanted just a clearer space for my mental. They put me on 4 different types of medication to make me commit suicide. The doctor also confessed to me that I was their test dummy. Basically, they're guinea pigs. So when they get new medication, they try it out on the black people, and the number one side effect is suicidal thoughts. Bring me to my next tip.
I've never experienced that. I've never taken any medication in the military. So I mean, it sounds like you might have already been sick in the head prior to this if you're taking medication. So, uh, ah, that's it. That sounds once again like personal experience. I've never heard of that.
Off people and they get away with it. They cover it up. They'll lie to the family and say that the person off themselves. They'll lie and say it was an accident. When those soldiers go missing, the government know exactly where they're at. Next,
I've heard them stories. There was like that Vanessa Gillen girl that something happened to her. That was a little while back. So yeah, I believe. I'm not saying what she described. It probably don't happen on a weekly basis or anything, but every once in a while, some shit like some weird shit happens and they cover it up. Yeah, that's just America. Government does that all the time. You know, you can't make the image of the military can't be put out there to be negative because nobody would trust it. So yeah, I can see that happening. But that's all. These is like more rare cases. It's not like this is happening every week. So like,
also undercover bases, so it's so easy to get kidnapped and trafficked. Next tip is they don't care about your well-being. Anytime I went forward to report harassment, bullying, and racism, because technically we have EO, so it's supposed to be illegal to be racist in the military, but they just have things written down on paper just so we can look good for the white people. They don't give a fuck about that shit in person. Next is
yeah, I can believe that. You got to have a system to say that, oh, we looked into this just to say you did it. But I mean, is it a high priority? Nah. I know in the Air Force, we had like a whole day's worth, like 6 hours worth of sexual assault training. And it was like one of the most dreadful days because it pretty much told you just basic stuff. Don't talk to people that don't want to talk to you. Don't touch people inappropriately. Don't make inappropriate comments. This is all like just common sense that you would think, but we had to have a whole 6 hour training on it. So, but I can believe that somewhat.
Recruiters are scammers, they are liars, and they are energy thieves, and they steal money. Next is
she exaggerated that. But I'm gonna give her some grace because that is actually somewhat true. So my recruiter, I had 2 different recruiters. So active duty, my recruiter was pretty honest, pretty upfront. Because I was an air traffic controller when I was active duty. And then when I was in the reserves, that's where my recruiter kind of undersold me a little bit, or not undersold, oversold me. He told me, oh, it's an easy job. All you're doing is putting bags on planes. It's easy. It's super easy. You get a bonus. What they don't tell you is you get half of your bonus up front and then they tax it. So you get half minus tax and then you get the rest of it over the next couple of years. They don't tell you that part up front. And they also kind of undersell how easy or what the job entails too. So I do what I say, scammer, no. Salesman, yes. They are definitely salesmen, and you definitely need to look further into it before you start trusting what the recruiter said. Now, all my friends that ever joined the military after me, they come and call me because I'm going to tell you the real.
Is when it comes down to basic training, their motto is to break you down and build you back up. Nothing in life that is positive is going to start off by tearing you down. They break people's bodies. Anybody who's going to feel like they're going to come in negative on this post, go sign your ass up and join, and then you come back. If you don't have no intentions of joining, don't get on my post talking about somewhere. You can't say that. That's not everywhere. I traveled every state in the United States except for 9, and I got treated the exact same way except for in Tennessee. So out of all the states, so there's what? So I've traveled to 41 states and I only got treated fairly in one state, and that was Tennessee. Another thing is that when they cause you injury,
Breaking bodies. Okay, so there's a strategy to this. If you go on YouTube, there's a dude named Asian guy named Professor Zhang, and he kind of teaches this. Is to create togetherness. So what you do is you take it's actually goes perfect to this strategy. You take people that come from toxic environments and you create trauma. Which basic training is? You take somebody that's already come from a toxic environment, create more trauma, and what that does is that bonds them together. So they create this trauma because when you go through trauma with other people, you're more likely to be together. You're more likely willing to die or to put your life on the line for that person. It's called cohesion. So then you build them back up because now y'all are together. So they broke you down and built you back up. So now y'all are together and ready to die for each other on the field of battle. That's why they call each other battle buddies. You see what I'm saying? That's what that is. It's a psychological thing, man. It's just way above. I wouldn't expect. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad. I'm just saying I wouldn't expect somebody like this to understand what the psychology of why they do that.
they're gonna try to lie about it. They're gonna try to cover it up. When I broke my foot, well, when they broke my foot because they dropped an object on my foot and broke it, they covered it up. They flew me to California to hide me. They did not take me to any doctor appointments. I never got my foot healed. I had to heal my foot on my own because I'm spiritual. I literally healed my
Right.
own.
Okay. All right. Right. See, you see what I'm saying? I heal my foot on my own because I'm spiritual. Like I said, this is a person that joined the military for essentially for the benefits, and which is what 90% of people do, right? And she got there and realized, okay, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be, right? I healed what do you mean they didn't take you to your doctor's appointment? I would think you would get some sort of allowance. Like I said, I'm not in the army, so I'm speaking from kind of the outside of the army. But generally, if you have a doctor's appointment, you would be able to, like, they would have like some sort of ride service. They have all type of services that take you to this type of stuff. I mean, granted, this could just be the Air Force. Maybe this ain't in the army, but I feel like I ain't saying she's over exaggerating. I'm just saying there were ways to do this. There's Ubers. There's the hospital is right there on the base. I mean, surely you can call the hospital and they can have somebody pick you up. Like I said, maybe I'm just speaking from Air Force, but that seems a little over exaggerated to me.
Foot. They only put my cast on and they took it off like 9 months later. Never gave me no physical therapy or nothing. When you break your body down, you're responsible for building it back up. Even though they broke it. In basic training, there's literally a camp called sick bay that you can go to. Like if you get too sick and you can't do basic training for a few days, I got my teeth pulled, so I had to go there. And there were so many people who were there that did not pass basic training. So basically,
that's true. So they call it sick bay in the Army. We had it. It was called sick hall in the Air Force. And yeah, there was people there that were injured or they were just kind of in limbo, waiting that were trying to be out processed out of basic training. And yeah, they were there for months. So there's obviously some sort of paperwork issue or some sort of staffing shortage that got all these people sitting here. But it's not bad because they get paid through this entire time. So like they're just sitting there getting paid to pretty much do nothing. I mean, honestly, it's a win if you're getting out the military, you get some free money out of it.
sick bay was where they was hiding people out. I met one girl who had been there for 2 years, y'all. Her people think that she done moved on and she's in her military career. She haven't even left basic training, and basic training is 2 months. On my very first night of reception, 2 girls got raped by drill sergeants in the bathroom, and they covered it up, sent those girls to a psych ward. Now, I'm not saying that
Let me let it
every
finish.
individual person is wicked, but what I am saying is that the military has a job to do, and they are involved in cover-ups. If one is doing it, they're all doing it. It don't matter where you go. They all follow the same motto. The government does not like being exposed. I did 6 years.
Now, all right, back to that. Remember what we talked about, where they traumatize you, and then they build up this togetherness so that you're willing to lay your life down for your partner. That's what that does. That is the exact reason why they break you down and build you up for stuff like this, or when stuff threatens the integrity of the military. There's people that are willing to work together cohesively to hide up the truth. I ain't saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's what is. It's true, right? If you remember, there was a big scandal in the Air Force some years. It was actually a couple years before I went to base training because I went there in I went to basic training in 2013. So I think it was like a year or two before that. There's sort of scandal where the instructors were sleeping with the trainee women, and so that's why they made it so instructors couldn't stay overnight in the dorms anymore in basic training. Like basic training for me was like a cakewalk. They couldn't cuss, they couldn't touch you, they had to ask your permission to touch you. They couldn't, like, it was just it was just completely staged, so it was, my time was easy. I don't know when she was in there, how long ago she was, but my basic training was easy. My military experience was very easy. Granted, like I said, I was in the army, I was in the Air Force, not the army, so she might have had a different experience. But let me know if I'm right or wrong in the comments. Appreciate y'all for watching. Catch y'all on the next one.